Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something really fascinating. We are going to methodically unpack the recent massive wave of UAP disclosures and evaluate the credibility of some truly explosive claims by comparing them directly against official government reports. We're going to treat this topic as a serious analytical investigation. That means we'll be clearly distinguishing between verified facts, witness testimony, allegations, and the official skeptical pushback.
To navigate this incredibly complex topic, here's our roadmap. We'll start with extraordinary claims and cover-ups, move on to examining the witnesses, trace the physical evidence, look closely at the official skeptical response, and finally wrap up with implications and unknowns.
All right, Section 1, Extraordinary Claims and Cover-ups. Let's dive in.
We are jumping right into the deep end here with a profound statement. And I want to be clear, this isn't coming from some fringe theorist on the internet. This is Dr. Hal Puthoff. He's an 89-year-old Stanford-trained quantum physicist who actually ran the CIA's classified remote viewing programs for over a decade and later advised the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Weapon System Applications program. In a recent interview, he stated flat out that colleagues directly involved in crash recovery teams have confirmed the retrieval of at least 4 distinct non-human species.
To put a finer point on this, his colleague, Dr. Eric Davis, actually outlined these 4 alleged species. He's talking about greys, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. But here is the real kicker from an investigative standpoint. These alleged biological entities supposedly share a remarkably familiar structural plan. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and erect posture. This specific detail fuels allegations of a multi-decade legacy program hidden from the public, pointing to beings that are distinct, yet weirdly evolutionarily adjacent to human biology.
Just look at how this disclosure timeline has accelerated. It's pretty wild. We go from the famous 2004 military encounters with the Tic Tac craft by Navy pilots, straight through the 2021 preliminary assessment from National Intelligence, right up to David Grush's explosive congressional testimony under oath in 2023. And that brings us to the recent Pentagon ARO report and Puthoff's striking 4-species claim. When you lay it out like this, it reads less like a random series of leaks and more like a deliberate, carefully paced rollout of highly classified information. Now you might be wondering, how on earth could secrets of this magnitude be kept hidden for 80 years? Well, the answer likely lies in unacknowledged special access programs, or USAPs. Here's how they work. If a program is unacknowledged, personnel are legally required to deny they have any idea what you're talking about, even if they're asked by someone with high-level security clearances. If that person isn't explicitly read in to that specific program, they get nothing. This bureaucratic structure effectively shields information from standard congressional oversight, creating these impenetrable silos of extreme secrecy.
Moving on to Section 2, Examining the Witnesses.
What makes this whole topic impossible to ignore is the absolute credibility of the people making these claims. I mean, we are not talking about amateur skywatchers here. These are elite military and intelligence professionals. We've got Commander Dave Fravor, a Navy Top Gun pilot who witnessed the 2004 Tic Tac displaying literally impossible physics. We have David Grush, former Air Force intelligence who testified under oath to Congress about non-human biologics, and retired U.S. Army Colonel Carl Nell, who warned of catastrophic consequences if the secrecy continues. These guys are risking their entire careers and reputations to bring this forward.
And the technology they're describing? It's mind-boggling. Take the 2004 Tic Tac encounters. You have craft recorded on multiple, highly advanced military sensor systems dropping from space down to sea level instantly, hovering, and then just accelerating away at hypersonic speeds. The amount of energy required to execute those maneuvers in a localized area without totally destroying the craft is frankly bonkers. It displays transmedium travel and energy generation capabilities that are entirely absent from our known human physics and engineering.
All right, Section 3, Tracing the Physical Evidence.
So, stepping beyond just eyewitness testimony, let's look at the hard data. There's a heavily referenced 2010 Defense Intelligence Agency document that lays out a very strict sequence of physiological effects for people who came into near-field contact with anomalous systems. And by near-field, we mean within tens of meters. When individuals got this close, they were exposed to broadband ultra-high radio frequency, or RF, and microwave radiation. And this exposure reliably led to the onset of acute clinical symptoms within just 72 hours.
The DIA rigorously documented some incredibly severe medical injuries from these close encounters.
We're talking severe heating burns, neurological disruption, temporary paralysis, and even auditory anomalies, where the brain literally perceives radio frequencies as clicking or buzzing sounds. The medical data establishes a highly consistent, repeating pattern of physical harm caused by advanced, high-power electromagnetic radiation fields. Basically, it proves that whatever these craft are, their propulsion or energy systems deposit massive amounts of measurable radiation into the human body.
Which brings us to Section 4, the official skeptical response.
Because to really understand this, we have to look at the massive friction at the heart of this debate. On one side, you have these explosive whistleblower allegations of recovered crafts and non-human bodies. But on the exact opposite side, you have the official findings from the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. Their sweeping 2024 report explicitly concluded there is zero empirical evidence of extraterrestrial technology, absolutely no secret reverse engineering programs, and that all these incredible claims are simply the result of circular reporting among a small group of believers just echoing the same rumors.
If we look back at the foundational 2021 Office of the Director of National Intelligence report, the government actually grouped UAPs into 5 very pragmatic, down-to-earth categories. They pointed out that most sightings are probably just airborne clutter, balloons, drones, trash, or they're natural atmospheric phenomena causing radar glitches, highly classified U.S. developmental tech, or foreign adversary drones. The 5th category is just a catch-all for events that remain unidentified purely due to a lack of good data.
To really put that into perspective, out of the 144 initial military UAP observations they studied in that 2021 report, only one single object was identified with high confidence, and it was a large, deflating balloon. That left 143 cases technically unresolved, but skeptics are quick to emphasize that unresolved does not mean extraterrestrial. It simply means the military lacked the high-quality optical or sensor data required to accurately classify what the object was.
Former AIRO head Sean Kirkcrack fiercely defends the scientific method here. He argues that the vast majority of these reports are almost certainly misidentifications. And he makes a great historical point. Spikes in UFO sightings often line up perfectly with the testing of highly classified U.S. technologies. Think about the Cold War testing of the U-2 spy plane or the B-2 stealth bomber. To civilians and even to military personnel who weren't read into those programs, those advanced human crafts looked entirely alien.
Finally, Section 5. Implications and unknowns.
So where does this leave us? We are currently staring down an incredible paradox, and there are really only 2 possibilities, both of which are absolutely staggering. Either a hidden consortium within our military and intelligence entities has successfully maintained an 80-year global cover-up of non-human intelligence, possessing craft and biology that totally defy our understanding of science. Or, alternatively, the absolute highest levels of our institutions have been infected by a massive psychological contagion. A cascade of misidentification and circular reporting that's managed to fool Top Gun pilots and intelligence directors alike.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As the momentum for disclosure keeps pushing forward, and as more classified files are inevitably dragged into the light by Congress and whistleblowers, the truth has to fall on one side of this line. Are we looking at the greatest cover-up in human history, or the most complex institutional confusion ever recorded? I encourage you to keep questioning the evidence. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.